So I had an appointment with my psychiatrist today, not the one who administered the TMS, but my regular psychiatrist who I get my like ADHD medication from. And I spoke to him last month, and he asked me if I wanted to go back on any antidepressants. I told him that I wanted to hold off on that because I wanted to see how the TMS I wanted to see, I wanted to finish up my TMS treatment before deciding on whether or not I should go back on antidepressants. But I am still on the stimulant medication, which is the azstarys for the ADHD. And today I saw him and he asked me how I was feeling from like a depressive perspective, and I kind of told him what I mentioned last video about how the TMS technician had to kind of coach me to essentially lie in my last PHQ-9 scale because for insurance purposes. And then he asked me if I felt like I needed to go on like antidepressants again. But you know what? I'm actually not depressed. So I don't know if it's a placebo effect. I don't know if maybe the TMS is doing its thing. Like I have been exhausted. I've been anxious for sure. I am starting to feel a bit of burnt out. Like I'm so tired. Like I'm burnt out. But not depressed, because I know what depression feels like, right? I've dealt with it my entire life. But I don't want to say that like I don't want to say that this is because of the TMS. It might be or it might not be, but I do want to point out that I told them I don't feel like I need to go back on antidepressants at this point because depression is not one of my main concerns. I feel like the fatigue, the fact that I'm always tired, and the anxiety are probably my main concerns at this point. But yeah, that is good news, I guess, right? Not so much that I'm dealing with all this fatigue, but he did tell me, he asked me how I was sleeping, and I said I have been going to sleep kind of late. I've always been a very light sleeper, and then he asked me if I've ever had a sleep study done, because it's possible, when he's not saying that I do have sleep apnea, but it's possible, or it's possible that I'm just not getting like a restful enough sleep, and that it could be something to consider, right? Like a sleep study, which will give me a better idea of whether or not my sleep quality is like affecting me, because I feel like I'm always really fatigued. Um, but again, like so far, I think I'm not really dealing with the depression as much, which is a good thing. But I did tell him that the anxiety is still there and it feels like it's always there. And I told him that I feel like the stimulant, the azstarys for ADHD, definitely helps kind of keep me on task and kind of help me get going throughout the day. Kind of like those people who, drink coffee every day to give them that boost to be able to function. Coffee is a stimulant, and azstarys is also a stimulant, so I imagine they kind of work the same way. But I also know that stimulants tend to amp up anxiety. So I told them, like, is there something else that I could try that could potentially have the same effect as the stimulant medication, but won't like make me anxious? And so he mentioned that there's a couple non-stimulant medications for ADHD, like azstarys and not azstarys, Strattera and Kelby, but I've tried both of those and they did not go well for me. They made me lethargic, like 10 times as fatigued. And I know I've tried modafinil in the past and I feel like it's worked well. So I told them that I wanted to see if I could go back on that instead of the azstarys that I'm on right now. But I don't want to make the switch at this point because I'm in the middle of midterms. And like I have a lot going on at work, so I made another appointment for him to see him in November, like right around Thanksgiving break, hoping that I could make the switch, the medication switch from the stimulant medication to the modafinil, which I think it's still an activating medication, but I don't think it's a stimulant. It's more like it promotes wakefulness. So, yeah, so as of right now and for the next month or so, I'm going to continue on the stimulant medication and we will see how this goes. I just wanted to come on here and update real quick about how I do feel like my depressive symptoms are improving, but also my life is hectic and I have very little time to kind of sit down and relax and rest and think about my life. So that could also play a part. Because I'm always busy doing something. So I don't know, maybe we'll see when the weekend comes around how I'm feeling. We have family over from Mexico because my grandpa's birthday party's tomorrow, and a bunch of our family came to visit because we're going to have the party here in our backyard. And then on Saturday, I have a gala that I have to attend for work that my supervisors are also attending, and basically they gave me a free ticket to the gala, which was worth like $150, so I can't say no to that. But also I don't, not really used to dressing up fancy or anything, so I have to go and buy a dress and buy something to wear. I'm not a big fan of social events, if you guys haven't already figured this out. So I'm not exactly looking forward to it, but I mean, I don't know. It'll be different, I guess. My sister might end up going, and I know a friend of mine who is a mutual friend of my sister's also is going. So at least, like, I know I won't be alone, and that's on Saturday. And this Saturday and tomorrow is Friday. That's my grandpa's birthday, so we have a party going on there, and I feel like there's always something going on. So I don't know. I can already tell that I'm going to need tons of downtime after the events of this weekend. But it's not like I can really afford to take downtime anyway because I have to finish my midterms this weekend and write uh, like 3 like IEP reports for Monday. So it's just going to be a very busy week and weekend coming up and a busy week next week. But then the following week on October 4th, we finally have a fall break. So we get a week off for fall and I cannot wait for break. I've said this before and I'll say it again. If you are the type of person who wants to work full time but needs constant breaks because you burn out easily, I think the schools is the way to go. Even though I feel like even with all the breaks that I get, it's still kind of overwhelming for me and still kind of hard to keep up with everything that I have to do. Anyway, I will be back.